might not be him, and there were gaps, and she said she was totally inebriated, and she was all messed up, and she doesn't know it was him, but it might have been him. Oh, gee, let's not make him a Supreme Court judge because of that.
There we have the president on the second accuser. The first accuser against Kavanaugh will get her day along with the judge tomorrow. We're going over your predictions this morning from a very special location, Independence Indoor Shooting in beautiful Meridian, Idaho. A wonderful facility. We're celebrating our winners, the Girls with Guns, thanks to Jordan. She came by and picked up her membership to Independence Indoor Shooting. Appreciate that, and can't wait to meet the other winners this morning. Thanks to Independence Indoor Shooting, some really, really awesome prizes. Girls with Guns continues to gain momentum here, and our third year of doing it. It gets bigger, and the contestants get more competitive. So thank you all that voted, that submitted. We so appreciate you. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, but you can stop by and shoot this morning. We're looking forward to seeing so many of our friends, our contributors. We have Greg Pruitt with us. We're going to get to Greg in a minute from the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. Before that, though, let's get to your phone calls. Janie in Rupert joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio. Janie, good morning.
Good morning. I just want to say that I think Chuck Schumer and all the Democrats owe both parties an apology. This was definitely political. It has actually given Ann Feinstein a little boost in her political spin in California, where she has not been promoted by the Democrats. So this was all a big setup set up by the Democrats just to promote their party, and it's not about fairness. It's not about equal justice. It's all about their political party and their push for all of that.
Well, you're right. It's not about qualifications. It's about allegations.
Right. Like I say, it's all political. And again, Dianne Feinstein needed something. She needed something to help her get her political party to back her for her next round of sitting on her seat. So it was all about giving her something. That's why she held on to it for 6 weeks. That's the only reason she held on to it for 6 weeks.
Well, what do you think is going to happen tomorrow?
Well, hopefully if Ford shows up, we'll get to hear her side of it, and we'll get to hear Kavanaugh's response. So we need to be fair, and we need to listen to both parties and then make judgment. Not make judgment now.
Maybe you need to call Chuck Schumer and give him some advice, Janie.
And that would be a good thing to do, wouldn't it? But he's not going to listen to somebody from Idaho, I can tell you that.
Wow, Rupert, that's a long way from the Treasure Valley.
Well, it is, but we do get through here once in a while and do listen to your show.
Well, Janie, thank you. You take care of yourself.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Liberty Linda joins us now. Liberty Linda, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Yes, good morning, Kevin. You know, since you're at Independence Shooting, taking a little break, having some fun today, I thought I would tell a fun story. You know, yesterday Jeff Manasso shared a story about Merriam-Webster adding words to her Scrabble game. So I thought it would be okay if I told one of my family stories handed down. You know, Daniel Webster, while he was writing his dictionary, lived with my great-grandfather and rented out a room from him. And the story was that was handed down to our family that our great-grandfather would help Daniel Webster out quite a bit from time to time. So that home and property later on was sold to Yale University. So if anyone today is visiting Yale University, you could actually be standing on the very ground that Daniel Webster wrote his dictionary on. So just a little bit of American trivia today.
Now, wait a minute. I thought it was Merriam-Webster, not Daniel Webster.
Well, it was Merriam-Webster, and she's supposed to be relative of Daniel Webster.
You're the Webster expert, not me.
I don't think I'm an expert on anything except for the United Nations.
Well, what do you make of the United Nations going after President Trump
Donald Trump has done more for our nation. He actually saved our nation.
Donald Trump
done a
has
little
saved
bit.
America.
He has saved us. And we all know that. Anybody that has a mind knows that he has saved our nation.
Well, and this is what he said yesterday.
In less than 2 years,
I know, and they learned.
my administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. America's so true. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
What do you make of that, Liberty Linda?
Well, my name says it all.
All
I
right.
think we should have liberty here in the United States. And, you know, the United Nations, their land that their building is on supposedly doesn't belong to our country. They don't have to obey our laws, is what is said. And so I don't believe in that. If they are on this land, this continent of the United States, they should have to obey our Constitution and our Bill of Rights.
You
And
hear
they
the
don't
shooting
have-
going on behind you?
Pardon me? I
You hear the
do.
yeah, that was the
And
shooting
I
going
tell
on.
you, the challenge is still on. I'm sorry, I'm out of town helping family. So anyway, but we will do our challenge. I challenge you with 10 shots, and we see which one hits the bullseye with 10 shots.
All right, thank you very much.
That's still on, Kevin.
All right, Liberty Linda, bring it.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, there we have it. 580-5436. 580-KIDR. Friend Greg Pruitt joining us, Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. You know, you've been gone for a while, and it's good to have you back. We've talked on the phone. But, you know, I equate the success of your organization really parallel with the growth of this program. You left us. You went to Wisconsin. You saved the libs there. You came back here. And, you know, we've had a growth in the audience since you've been gone. I wondered if you've noticed that. We have new people and such, just as you're reacclimating yourself to the Gem State.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to be back now, Kevin. I love Idaho. I love the mountains, and we're glad to be here. Yeah, there's definitely some new people floating around that I haven't seen before, and they
Right.
clearly haven't seen me. And
Right.
hopefully we have a lasting impression with this organization that everybody knows who we are here in the near future.
Has it gotten better? And we'll go over the history of your involvement, your personal, your family sacrifice, not only here, but in Washington, in Wisconsin. But has it gotten better when we're talking about gun rights, since we are at Independence Indoor Shooting in Meridian? Has it gotten better, sir?
You talking about in the state or in the country?
In the state.
In the state? Well, I think things have gotten better. We've got constitutional carry passed, and in addition to that, we have overturned over 60 anti-gun ordinances and gotten signs taken down that were in parks all across the state.
Now, you're a
So-
pretty soft-spoken guy, and people may not be aware of this campaign that you started, doing it through social media primarily, that if you saw, a local municipality breaking a law related to the Second Amendment, you took action. Could you give us some background on that?
Yeah, so Idaho has what they call a preemption statute, which preempts cities and counties from enacting their own ordinances regarding firearms regulations, anything that's stricter than the state. And so what we did is we started going to every city and county across the state and saying, okay, you've got a law on the books that's in violation of state law, or you've got a sign posted in a park or a public place that's in violation of state law. And we started working with those cities and counties to get those taken down. And when that didn't work, then we activated the grassroots gun owners and put the necessary pressure on those municipalities to get that stuff overturned, and it's been very successful.
Now, again, you're a soft-spoken guy, you're a family guy, and all of a sudden you're doing this meticulous work to make sure that gun owners, that people that are Idahoans, get it.
You know, Kevin, if you don't protect freedom, you'll lose it. And after I came back from Iraq, I really just kind of sat back and said, I've got to do something more, right? I took this oath to defend the Constitution, but once I left the military, that oath didn't change, right? I have a lifetime oath. And so I wanted to do more, and gun rights in particular, to me, we are losing this country very quickly we are losing on a lot of issues, and guns is it for me. Like, if they get the guns, that's it, right? There's no more country left.
That's why
after
we've
that.
got the guns firing in the background
That's
here.
right,
Yeah.
I love that. I love hearing that.
Yeah.
And so that's why I am so passionate about this, is because I know I've seen tyranny firsthand. I've seen what Saddam Hussein did to the Iraqi people, and God forbid that we ever let that happen in this country.
And that's really what's at stake, but people will make the argument, and you have a lot of new people that have moved to Idaho, that, Idaho's better than California. That can't happen here. We love the Second Amendment. No big deal. No harm, no foul. We're gun-friendly. We're the most gun-friendly state in the country.
Well, the gun owners might be the best in the country, and we do have some pretty great laws, and we want to keep it that way in addition to restoring the Second Amendment to what it was truly meant to be. The funny thing is, Kevin, the gun owners moving here from Washington, California, and Oregon, they actually understand the danger that is here right now, and the bigger danger that is on the horizon. It's the gun owners in our own state that have been here for a long time that are like, hey, what's the big deal? What do we have to worry about? And what I keep telling them is, look at Washington, look at Oregon, look at California and Nevada and Colorado. All those states used to be really gun-friendly states. Even California used to be a very gun-friendly state. And now they've all been wiped out. All been wiped out by the progressives, and there is a progressive movement here to pass gun control. And in fact, we defeated a gun control bill earlier this year that Representative Melissa Wintrow was running, and so the battle is here.
Let's get to that in a second. Your phone calls, we're talking firearms, weapons, the Second Amendment with our great friend Greg Pruitt of the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. We're at Independence Indoor Shooting, 580-5436. And you can hear that in the background. That's actual live fire on the range. There you go, the sound of freedom in Morning Drive. The only show in America, certainly in Idaho, where you're going to have live firing on the range, and we love it, just to show you how committed we are. But I do want to, we're going to get back to Greg Pruitt and ask him about the gun control measures that are happening. If you have a question about the Second Amendment, you have a question about firearms and protecting yourself and your family and the Castle Doctrine, Greg is here with us this morning. We would love to take your phone calls. You're listening to Kevin Miller on 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. That's right. We've got Art from the grand jury in Star. He wants to talk again. We'll get to him in a minute. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. I do want to thank the staff at Independence Indoor Shooting for sponsoring Girls with Guns. In addition to that, for opening up early and for allowing, and the additional staff to have us having live fire on the range this morning. That's what you're hearing. Those aren't sound effects. That's people using either the 100-yard indoor range or the 25 lanes that they have here. This is the largest indoor facility in the Northwest, right in Meridian, Idaho. My man Greg Pruitt joining us from the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. You haven't even been here, but can you imagine, I've just described it, and you haven't taken the tour yet. Having that in Meridian, Idaho. Not anywhere else, not in Montana, not in Oregon, but right here.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And I remember you doing your first show from here when I was in Wisconsin, and I would listen online to what was happening, and I'm thinking, I got to see this place, because the way you described it,
right.
I just kept going, how big is this place? Especially at the location that it was. You never imagined that this facility is right here, right off of Eagle and Overland right here. So
right, and look, it's new, it's great, it's safe, it's fun. I have to hit you with this. So you defeated a measure, the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance defeated a measure, a gun control measure in Idaho last session?
Yeah, it was actually 3 votes away from passing in our state house, and that was really concerning, because what they were trying to do, Kevin, is say that anytime you have a misdemeanor conviction of they call it domestic violence, right? And I know the initial reaction for most people is, oh, you've got domestic violence and it's some horrible, awful thing, and sometimes those are the cases. But what they wanted was a blanket. Anytime anybody has any misdemeanor conviction of a domestic violence, not a felony, a misdemeanor, you were going to lose your firearms for 2 years. The police were going to come, and you were going to lose your firearms for 2 years. And we were like, no, that is not constitutional. That is not allowed under the Constitution. And we defeated that measure by 3 votes, Kevin. 3 votes, and gun control almost passed in the state. But they were going for more. What they really wanted to do was use this as a foothold to get red flag laws here in the state of Idaho, which means that if your doctor or your spouse or your brother or your sister or your neighbor thinks that you are a danger to yourself or others, they can call the police can go to the judge, they can come and take your firearms away. You are no part of the process. There's no due process. Your firearms are gone. That was the first step.
You're fired up, so I'm a little slow. I want you to say it again. Greg, these red flag laws. But what concerns me, and you see this happened to a relative of mine in another state, that you have the medical people start asking, if you're in therapy, if you're this, if you're depressed, look, just fix my cold. I don't need you to know if I'm depressed or not. I got a lot of issues of my own. And to me, it seems like an invasion of my own personal privacy to justify some type of move against my personal liberty, possibly to take my guns.
Yeah, and so I guess to expand or go back and reiterate what a red flag law is, yeah, the best way to do this maybe is to give you an example out of Oregon. I've been talking to a guy in Oregon, and his stepson works at UPS. I think he's 21 years old, and he's got ADD or ADHD, and so he doesn't have a lot of facial expressions, right? And he was at work, and while he was at work, he started talking about the Parkland kids that have been running around the country hating on the Second Amendment.
Right.
And he was like, I wish these Parkland kids would just go away. That's what he said. The police show up at their door. And the stepdad, who's a paraplegic, answers the door and they say, hey, we heard about your son. He was making some comments about the Parkland kids from Florida. We need to take your firearms away just until we clear that he's not a bad person. That is red flag laws. So they wanted to take the dad's guns away.
Not even the kids.
Not even the kids. And the kid didn't have any firearms. He didn't make any threats against these folks. And so there's no due process. The police show up at your door and they take your firearms away.
You have to see that's where it's going, not only locally but nationally, when they start talking about the firearms and we've got to do something more. As you know, there are thousands of laws on the books concerning firearms and regulations, even though it's guaranteed by the Constitution.
Yeah, most of which aren't enforced already. So
right.
They want to pass more gun control that isn't going to work. But there are 13 states with these red flag laws, Kevin, including Indiana and Florida, which are controlled by Republicans. In fact, 60 NRA-endorsed Republicans in Florida voted for red flag laws in that state. And we are also hearing that the Republicans in Utah are looking at a red flag law.
You have to wonder, and this goes back to Judge Kavanaugh, that if you have a 4-4 Supreme Court, if this gets up before he gets in, which is unlikely, but still, you could have red flag laws being declared constitutional where most of us would agree that they're unconstitutional.
Yeah, completely unconstitutional. Yeah. If red flag laws get to the Supreme Court, I do not know that they would strike that down like they should.
Right. We miss Judge Justice Alito. More with Greg Pruitt coming up. We're going to talk about the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. Then we're going to talk about his thoughts on school shootings as well. We're at Independence Indoor Shooting here in Meridian, Idaho. We're here till 9. Occasionally you're going to hear some live fire back and forth. The only show in Idaho, in America, broadcasting live from a shooting range. We do this all the time thanks to our friends here. You really need to check this place out. It is great. Traffic and weather together, 25 after the hour. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio.
Missouri Gabbard.
And once again, an Independence Indoor Shooting, Kevin Miller in the morning, taking your calls about the Second Amendment at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Greg Pruitt joining us. Now, people may be familiar with what happened, 3 or 4 weeks ago. You had a big march on the Capitol. You had the folks from Gun Owners of America. You had Ammon Bundy, Alex Kincaid, and you. What was the turnout like, and what are the annual marches designed to do?
Kevin, I was a little disappointed you were halfway across the country, or all the way across the country. But
my priorities were not in line with where they should have been, brother. Believe me, I wish I could have been there.
No, you're good, Kevin. We love you. And, we had about 2,000 gun owners that showed up to the Capitol. Generally, we do the rallies during the session to kind of build momentum and build up some hoorah for the guns in the session. But
you've been called a lot of things when you do it in session, though.
Oh yeah, lots of things. Lots of things have happened during those rallies, but
right.
But this one in particular, we did it in the fall. We wanted to get gun owners excited about the midterm elections and what's going on right now, because statewide, the Democrats are running gun control advocates. I mean, Paulette Jordan and the rest of them, they're all for gun control, which flies in the face of how campaigns have typically ran here. Republicans and Democrats generally stay away from guns. They all come out as, I'm pro Second Amendment. Look at me. Look at my horse. Look at my gun. I go hunting for the rest of my life. And then they get in the Capitol and they do nothing to protect the Second Amendment or to restore it. And so that's why we wanted to do this rally in September, was to get gun owners excited and say, hey, figure out who's a fraud. when it comes to protecting the Second Amendment and who's on point, and that's who we would encourage you to vote for. So.
You're going to be here with us for a while?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let's go to Lee, joining us now. Kevin Miller in the morning. Les from Nampa. He moved here from California. Les, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Hey, good morning, guys. How's it going?
Great.
Hey, I'm first off, let me say I'm proud to be a veteran country and served honorably, and sadly got to see a lot of my buddies not come back home. I'm also a victim of strong-arm robbery in California, which I could do nothing about, couldn't protect myself. That will add into a different word of fear. I've been here about 3 weeks. I keep hearing a lot of stories from people that, we're hated here. But let me tell you something. In the back of when I started unloading my gear, back of my pickup truck went on the sticker, National Rifle Association. I'm proud now to be an almost gun owner because once I get my license here, I will be able to exercise my freedoms. And I got to tell you, all of you guys out there listening to me right now, and what you guys are saying on the program, anybody that's commuting right now that's a gun owner, get involved. Get involved. Get involved now. Because it's not just something, just buy a gun and go out to the range and have fun. The time is coming here, and these people in California and where all these other states that you're talking about are moving and progressing and doing this dastardly deed of taking away our rights. So, as you said, when I was in the military, in the Strategic Air Command, that tells you how old I am, once freedom is lost, it's lost. And I'm proud to be here. And when I buy my first, it's kind of weird. I am the mindset down there. I was a park ranger, and when I applied for the job, and I told the supervisor I was a Vietnam veteran, served with honors, she remarked back to me that while I was fighting a war, she was in the streets carrying a sign protesting the war.
Oh.
So it's just a mindset that the people that are on the other side, those people that you're talking about, I call them the enemy. They try to override you. And so what I'm saying to all your people here, my people now, it's time to override them. And if you don't, it's coming. And I really wanted to share that with everybody. And I kind of keep hearing from a lot of people here that the Idahoans hate Californians. And I kind of even now, because of this mindset that I've lived with in California and San Diego.
Les, let me jump in here.
Yeah, you bet.
And first of all, thank you for your service. We don't hate the good people from California. We hate the libs that are coming in that continue to have their plates and try and make Idaho, a suburb of Los Angeles or San Francisco. I have fun with the California people, but there are so many people here in Idaho that defend the good people. But, you got a lot of crazy libs in your foreign state, and they want to come here and make it crazy lib north.
Yeah. And what I meant by that was that my mindset that's been instilled in me, I mean, for me, my buddy is, he says, now strap this on, walk around. It feels weird to me to be able to exercise my right. You understand? And so when I hear the stuff about hating, you're right. You guys don't hate the ones of us that are coming in to exercise our right. We're bringing a lot of talent in. We're bringing a lot of good stuff, a lot of morals. But the mindset in us, and when I hear these horror stories, like I got to go to the DMV, right? I keep hearing stories about when I surrender my California license that the person is going to be rude to me at the window. No, they're not.
No, don't worry about it, Les. And if that happens, let us know. I've got to run, but please call back and welcome to America.
Okay, thank you for your show.
Thank you. And again, you don't have shows like this in California. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, Kevin.
Rolling right along, Kevin Miller in the morning. Let's go to New York, to the United Nations. Tanya J. Powers joining us with a follow-up. The president yesterday getting quite a reaction. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, he did.
How was the president's day? Of course, we've got that one clip, and then he has the working lunch. What is the, what's his, I guess, the purpose of him being there? Is there any really official business going on, or is it more ceremonial?
Well, actually, yeah, today's official business. He will be chairing the Security Council meeting today, which for the first time. That actually will gavel in about 20 minutes, and they are expecting to talk about nuclear, not only nuclear, but also chemical and biological weapons of mass destruction. So that is one of the big topic of conversation there. You can also expect to hear them call out Iran and the situation in Syria as well. Iran's President Rouhani actually is expected to either address the Security Council in the meeting, or he's going to have an event with press afterwards, one or the other. But he will, have a response for what they're going to talk about in that Security Council meeting now.
Hey, do you hear that in the background?
I do. What's going on?
We're at a shooting range.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense now.
Yeah, we got people shooting as you're breaking down the UN and the Security Council. I think the only show in America that's doing that right now.
I'm pretty positive of it, actually. I've never been on the air with someone live while they're at a shooting range. This is probably a first for me. And I've been in radio a long time.
Well,
that's hard to do,
Well, I don't know if we could say this in the Me Too movement, but you do get around.
Yeah, I don't think you can say that, but yeah.
Well, then I'll withdraw that statement, Your Honor.
This is not court, thankfully.
I humbly withdraw that statement. Anyway, do you think we'll expect some more fireworks today? I don't understand how the president will chair the Security Council. It would be seemingly like that old Seinfeld bit, airing of the grievances. Yeah,
right. That's kind of what I'm expecting is, for there to be some fireworks with them calling out Iran. That's one of the interesting things about the UN, especially these, speeches from each member nation's leader that, gets up there and calls out other countries while they're, in front of them. It's an interesting sort of thing to watch. Usually when, leaders are talking about other countries or our enemies or the things that they view as, bad behavior by another country. Generally, it's in front of their own people, or it's like in President Trump's cases at a rally with supporters and things like that, and that always, plays well no matter who the leader is and where he's talking, if it's in front of his own folks. It's a whole different kind of feel when, somebody's basically standing in front of you, calling you out and saying, you haven't done enough for this, and President Trump did a lot of that yesterday, as we expected. He also threw some shade at the UN and said, it's got potential, but it's not doing everything it needs to be doing, which he's been critical of that before as well. So that was not new.
Tanya J. Powers joining us finally. What's it like there with all the world leaders, the facility, the United Nations? I mean, you've covered things at the highest levels, but these are, the leaders of the world in one spot, yet they're human. What's it like being there, covering it, seeing this?
It's really, it's a lot of fun. I mean, there are so many delegations with so many delegates. The east side of Manhattan is where the UN is, right there on the East River, actually. And it's like that part of Manhattan just sort of becomes gridlock, which kind of goes to the rest of the city. I mean, traffic's not ever a picnic here anyway, but it just gets so hard to move around when the UN is in session. Not only that, but you have all these motorcades and tons of delegates who line up, and they all go in at the same time. So you'll see probably 20 people at least going in with different, when different leaders arrive to speak. It's a constant coming and going of people. There's a heavy police and security presence. Obviously, they're very, security is very tight. Around
that was
UN.
the 50 cal there on automatic. Sorry.
These are not people you want to mess with. You know,
Sure.
If security is really, like I said, you have to go through, you know, all kinds of stuff to get a credential to even get in to cover this. So it's not one of those, hey, just show up and run on in there sort of thing. Wow.
Look, we got it going on here.
I see that. You do. I appreciate the fact that we've made history with the call today. Like I said, I've never been on a morning show that was at a gun range with guns being fired in the background before. This is a new one for me.
You know, we're like the president. We're all in.
That's what I keep telling people about you, Kevin.
And I really appreciate that, Tanya J. Powers.
You're welcome.
You have a great day.
I will. You too. Have fun.
Thank you. And by the way, that's an MP5. Is that correct, Chandler? All right. Thank you. See, I've got Chandler here correcting me on my gun stuff. Greg Pruitt joining us, Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. We've got Gary joining us. We remember Gary from the Michael Snyder campaign. How are you?
Good.
You got to get closer to.
Okay, I'm doing great. This is a wonderful place down here. First time here, and this is a remarkable location. So I came down this morning to do a little shooting and to hopefully talk with you. But thank you for asking me to come over here and talk.
Well, we love you. You're a true believer.
I am.
It's you and Greg and Tea Party Bob when he gets here, but, you know.
I know. What a good team.
Right, exactly. So here we have Greg talking about the gun rights in the state. You have any questions about your right to bear arms in Idaho?
I'm still bearing my arms, and I think that we have some great laws in this country, and I think we should continue with the process of making sure that we keep and hold our rights and have our guns, and I think this state is doing quite well, and I hope that continues.
Well, we need people like you involved. Greg was telling us they're going to have these red flag laws where somebody can make an accusation against you and they can, without any due process, take your guns.
Well, I'm not sure about how that is going to work out. I think especially in this state or states of such like Idaho, I think it'll be very difficult for people to come and take our guns away.
Well, let's ask Greg because he's working with the legislature. By the way, how are we in relation to all the other states around us in the Northwest? Are we the most gun-friendly, are we in the leadership when it comes to gun rights?
Yeah, definitely in the Northwest, without question. You know, if you get all the way down to Arizona, obviously we're not in the Northwest anymore, but Arizona's got probably better gun laws than we do. But in the Northwest, it's not even really close, Kevin.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, when you hear Gary talk about it, Gary's very politically active. Gary is not somebody that sits on the sidelines. So when he says, hey, things are good here, can you enlighten us on what we should be looking out for?
Yeah, and like you mentioned, we've got some fantastic protections for our Second Amendment rights here in the state of Idaho, but those are constantly under attack. And our legislature, given the opportunity, would most certainly pass gun control, as we talked about earlier.
Now, wait a minute. We have Republicans in Senate. We own this House and the Senate, and all Republicans are conservative, right?
Yeah, it's almost like Congress. You know, we've got Republicans controlling everything in Congress and a Republican president, and yet no pro-gun bills passed during the first 2 years of the Trump presidency because Republicans in Congress are completely spineless. And we've got the same situation going on here in our own Capitol, where we've got a vast majority, a Republican majority, supermajority for that matter, that could override vetoes of our governor, and yet we have to fight tooth and nail to try and pass pro-gun laws here in the state.
Now, you've asked all the gubernatorial candidates to fill out a questionnaire. Who has done that?
None of them.
Now, our old friend Walt Baines, he's the
Constitution Party candidate. So I got word from their campaign that Walt had a stroke.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
And so I don't know.
Walt's had some health issues lately.
He's had some health issues, yeah, and he lost his wife recently as well. So, but we are hearing from their, and they are working on filling out that questionnaire, and whether Brad Little will or not, I don't know. We haven't yet heard.
Well, and you know, you take a look at Brad Little. Didn't show up for your Second Amendment gubernatorial debate, had a family issue, but we hope that he fills that out. I think Paulette Jordan's done on guns. That's been well documented. Why do you think people are not just happy to fill out a flyer, an innocuous flyer, when it comes to gun rights?
I don't know, because, as pro-Second Amendment as all of these candidates say they are, you would think this would be a really easy 10 questions, basically yes or no on every question, and,
right.
And that's it. And these questions aren't difficult. They're not hard. But if you're not as pro-Second Amendment as you say you are, that's generally why the candidates will not fill out a survey, is because they don't want to answer some questions on that survey.
Gary, your thoughts on how conservative Idaho is? You were participating hand-to-hand in a very contentious, very competitive congressional primary. Your thoughts?
Well, I've been in this state 40 years. I've seen a big change in this state when it with that, meaning, everyone says, well, we're all Republican and this is a Republican state, and everybody gets a little bit complacent and they don't exercise their rights to vote. We're seeing a lot more people coming into this state from all over the country. The
libs.
Yes.
We got a lot of libs here to begin with.
We do, and they are systematically.
Now, Greg said that. I would never say anything like that.
But there's a systematic approach to how the libs, the Democrats, are slowly taking control or wanting to take control of this state. They've done that in a lot of the neighboring areas around Boise. Look at what's happened to Eagle. Look what's going on in the city of Boise. And you start dissecting some of those things that are going on a day-to-day basis. You'll find out that they're systematically trying to take over, our government and our rights, and to change the way that we have lived here in this state and the laws that we have right now, especially with guns.
All right, Gary, I got to run, but you're going to hang for a while, or you're going to go shoot?
I'm going to go shoot.
All right, we'll be listening to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. God bless. Coming up, a very special guest, Greg Pruitt, and we have our another finalist with our Girls with Guns. We'll talk to Anna as well. All before 9 o'clock, we're here at Independence Indoor Shooting. Meridian, Idaho would love to see you. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And good morning, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. We're joined by Stuart and John from U.S. Law Shield. We've been hearing a lot about them on the air here at Independence Indoor Shooting. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to talk to you both. Let's talk a little bit about what U.S. Law Shield is. We've heard a lot about you guys on KIDO Talk Radio, Sean Hannity, other national folks. Locally, you guys are here. What's it about?
Sure. So basically, the meat and potatoes of us is we're legal defense for self-defense. We were founded in 2009 by a group of attorneys in Houston, Texas, and basically they were tired of seeing the law-abiding citizen get taken advantage of by the legal system. We're not going to call it a justice system because rarely do we see justice. So we'll call it the legal system. We are the largest legal defense for self-defense organization in the United States today, with 320,000 members and growing. We currently have attorneys in all 50 states, and today we're in wonderful Meridian, Idaho, here at Independence Indoor Shooting, and we just kicked off Idaho, about 6 months ago?
Yep, 6 months ago.
And it's steamrolling.
Well, people think, if you're innocent, you have nothing to worry about. Why do you need U.S. Law Shield?
There's always going to be that legal fight. Always. No matter if you discharge a round or not, there's still going to be a legal fight.
And where do you guys come in on that?
Well, John here, he is the team leader for the Boise area. And basically what we do is we bring the product to the market. We bring it to the members. Whether you carry a gun or you do not, we still cover you. We cover everybody. We're not firearm specific. So any type of legal weapon we cover, ballpoint pen, a frying pan, any tool that you have to utilize to preserve life.
Wow, this sounds like the voice of experience. Maybe not with you guys, literally. John, your thoughts on this? A ballpoint pen, do you need that protection?
In all reality, yes, 100%. We live in a very precarious world now, and everybody at any point in time, they can use our system to come after you, the legal system. So being able to cover everything, me personally, I don't always have a firearm on me. I don't always have a knife, and bad guys don't care. Somebody that wants to do you harm does not care if you are carrying or not, if you're ready to go. So having that protection, being able to have that coverage, it's key, and that's what sets us apart from everybody else.
You know, I had a friend of mine, his brother warded off a home invasion, and he didn't kill the guy. And then the guy took him to court to sue him.
Absolutely.
That
100%.
happens?
Absolutely. Every single day.
More than you think.
So wait a minute. A guy breaks in your home, threatens to kill you, you shoot him, you don't kill him, and they can sue you?
Absolutely.
You use a shotgun. You're waiting for somebody to come in your door. You're attempting. You're waiting for it. Criminals are not dumb people.
Yeah.
They know exactly how to do it.
Even if you're no build, say it's a justified shooting, they'll still come after you on the civil side. These days you can sue anybody on the civil side for anything.
And what can that cost you?
That can cost you thousands and thousands of dollars, upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on your individual situation. And so that's where we come in, because once you're a member,
right,
zero attorney fees, zero caps, no limits, and we cover you on both the criminal and the civil side. We cover all appeals, all retrials, from beginning to end. We are with you.
Wow. So this field is growing, unfortunately. More litigation, the Gilded Age of litigation, people tying people up in courts, just losing money over this.
Absolutely.
So how can they join?
Today, I will actually be here from 2 till close. If anyone comes down and talks with me, we'll get you signed up today. As soon as you sign up, you're leaving here protected. You're leaving here with a card. You're leaving knowing that, hey, we're that fire extinguisher.
And we'll even throw in something special today. If they sign up today for an annual, we'll give them 2 months of membership for free, and we'll also throw in a online gunshot wound first aid class, $60 value. So come down today, see John down here at Independence Indoor Shooting.
U.S. Law Shield. Guys, we'll talk to you next coming up. Traffic and weather together. More coming up from Independence Indoor Shooting in Meridian. Stay tuned. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.